a savory vegan, and today I'm going to share everything that I eat in a day. I personally love these videos and I love sharing what I eat on Instagram, so I thought it was time to make the jump onto YouTube. So be sure to like and subscribe. Maya's telling you to do that right now, and let's get into it. So the first thing I do in the morning is drink water. I wake up so thirsty, I don't know what it is, but I have to have crushed ice if possible, and just some lemon water to get the day started. If I don't have lemons, then I just do the ice water, but I usually have lemons on hand. And lemon water is supposed to be good for your digestion, good for your skin, all that good stuff. So I like starting the day out with some hydration. Next, I'm going to be making breakfast, and this has kind of been my go-to breakfast lately, a little English muffin action. I like those ones from Trader Joe's, and I'm just cooking my English muffin in my air fryer. I use my air fryer for everything. I put it in there at 350 for about 6 minutes. Next, I am prepping my veggies. I've got some cherry tomatoes, and I'm going to chop up some garlic, and this is my favorite breakfast combo. There's just something so tasty about having tomatoes and garlic in the morning. So I added a little bit of olive oil to a pan, and I'm adding the cherry tomatoes, some salt, pepper, and some red pepper flakes because I like everything spicy. And I'm just gonna let these cook for a couple minutes. They don't need to cook all the way, just blister a little bit. Then I'm gonna add the garlic and let this all cook together for another 30 seconds or so. Not long, you don't want the garlic to burn. It's pretty quick. Then I turned the heat off and I added some arugula and some fresh basil, and I'm just gonna let this wilt again for another 30 seconds or so. So to assemble, I'm just using half of an avocado, and so I'm gonna put a quarter on each side of the English muffin, smash it in. Doesn't need to be super pretty. And then I'm gonna load it up with my tomatoes and greens. Looks so good. And top it with everything but the bagel seasoning. Who am I if I don't use everything but the bagel seasoning? And that's it, that's my breakfast. It was super yummy, fresh, got some greens, got some carbs, all the good stuff. The other thing I drink throughout the day is water. So I try to drink 2 of these a day. I do my best. And yeah, there's Daff. She's guarding her Kong from her sister. I swear, this is what I deal with all day. They drive me nuts. It's a good thing they're really cute. So if you follow me on Instagram, then you already know I'm an iced coffee fiend, and I love this coconut cold brew from Trader Joe's. I do dilute it with a lot of ice and some water, and then I added some almond creamer and some pumpkin pie spice because it's fall. And I usually drink my coffee around noon, which I don't need it in the morning, but in the afternoon I need that pick-me-up. So this is my go-to coffee every day. For lunch, I am making this delicious buffalo tempeh kale Caesar salad. It's seriously so good. So to start, grab some tempeh. I like this one from Trader Joe's. I also like the Light Life one. I feel like you don't need to boil those ones. You can just cook them straight out of the package. I like to score my tempeh just with some little marks. That way I can cut 24 equal pieces. There's no going back and second guessing. It just makes it so much easier. And I'm just cutting these into strips. And then we're gonna make the marinade, which is Frank's, of course, for buffalo sauce. I'm just gonna add some Frank's to a bowl, and then I'm also gonna add some chili powder and some garlic powder and pepper. I'm just gonna whisk this until it's all combined, and this is gonna be my marinade for my tempeh. I find that marinating tempeh makes it taste a lot better. If you don't like tempeh, that might be the issue. So marinating it for even just 30 minutes like I'm doing is going to give it so much more flavor. So put this in the fridge for 30 minutes and we'll prep everything else. So to make the Caesar dressing, you're just going to add some tahini to a jar along with some apple cider vinegar, Lots of lemon juice. The recipe calls for 1 to 2 lemons. I always use the full 2 because I love a tart dressing. Some olive oil, just a tablespoon. It's not a lot of oil. And then lots of garlic. You could do less if you want. Some pepper, and then I added some water to dilute it down. I love using mason jars for dressings like this because then you can just add a lid and shake them up and they're ready to go. You could obviously taste it and make sure it tastes okay, but I know it's good, and I'm just gonna put it in the fridge. So my tempeh is done marinating, so I'm adding some panko breadcrumbs to a bowl, and you're just gonna go through and coat your tempeh with the breadcrumbs. You could do more than one at a time if you wanted. I don't know why I chose the one at a time method, but it worked just fine. So add them to your air fryer. I will leave baking instructions below as well if you don't have an air fryer. And then I cooked them at 330 degrees for 12 minutes. You could do a little longer if you like them even crispier. So while the tempeh is cooking, I'm prepping my kale. You do want to marinate kale, especially if you're not used to it. I'm so used to it at this point, I could just eat it right out, fresh. But I'm marinating it with some of the Caesar dressing, and I'm gonna put this in the fridge. This will help it soften. Next, I'm just gonna prep the rest of the toppings, which all I'm adding is some red onion and the other half of the avocado from breakfast. And now my tempeh is all crispy and delicious. So I'm adding it to a bowl, and then I'm gonna drizzle it with some more Frank's Red hot sauce. You don't have to do this, but I like it extra saucy and extra spicy, so it's a must for me. I'm also adding some arugula now. I didn't want to add it earlier because it would have wilted, so you want to add it right before you're going to eat, just for some extra greens. I added the red onion, and then I'm going to place my tempeh all pretty in my salad. You could also just throw them on top. Last thing, I'm going to add some avocado, and I think I also sprinkled some black pepper on after I added the dressing. But this salad is seriously so good and so healthy. I mean, you know everything that went into it. It's not a pre-made salad. It's all homemade, good stuff. And the Caesar dressing is one of my favorite dressings. It's so good. I put it on just about anything. You definitely want to give this one a try. For dinner, I kind of did a use up everything in the fridge to make a stir fry situation. I also got these Pasta Zero spaghetti noodles the other day, and I wanted to try them. I do like them. I will say, you need to rinse them because they stink when they come out of the bag. So rinse them thoroughly, and you also just want to make sure that they really cook in the sauce. Otherwise, they're too chewy. So the longer they sat in the sauce, once I cooked them, the better. So once those were all rinsed, I prepped my veggies. Again, garlic, big garlic lover. I also did some fresh ginger. I only did about half of what I just showed. And then I cut up a bunch of green onions. I'm gonna cut the whites and the greens separately so that I can use the whites in the stir fry with the garlic and the ginger, and then we'll use the greens on the top once everything is finished. I'm also making some vegan chicken broth. I use this all the time. It's certified vegan, so for anyone who's worried about it, it is definitely vegan, and it tastes like chicken broth. It's so bizarre. I use this in so many recipes. It's my go-to. I get it on Amazon. I will link it below. I ended up making a full cup, but I only used half a cup once I started making the recipe. And then I just wanted to show you, these are the leftover veggies. I had some butternut squash and some Brussels sprouts in the fridge, so I'm going to use this in the stir fry. It's a perfect time to use up what you have. So I added a little bit of sesame oil, the garlic, the ginger, and the whites of the green onions, and I'm just going to cook this off for about a minute with some white pepper. Next, I'm adding some frozen edamame. Again, I just had it in my freezer, so I figured I might as well add some extra veggies. Now I'm adding a half a cup of that broth. And this is gonna look too saucy, I understand, but just trust me, the noodles are gonna soak everything up and it's gonna get good. So I added the noodles. There's a couple tablespoons of soy sauce, a tablespoon of hoisin sauce, and I'm just gonna let this all mix together for a minute or two. Next, I added some chopped spinach just to get some more greens in. And then I kind of pushed everything to the side so I could add in those leftover veggies and let them heat up for a sec. And then I'm gonna toss everything together. And of course I added red pepper flakes because I'm addicted to spice. So everything's boiling, just kind of let it do its thing and let all the flavors come together. Last, add the green onions that we had reserved, and I added some toasted sesame seeds just to be fancy. And there you have it. This stir fry was so good. Again, let the noodles sit in the sauce. They will get less chewy and more flavorful, and you won't notice that they aren't real noodles, I promise you. And that's it for today's What I Eat in a Day. And here's Maya telling you to go ahead and like this video and go ahead and subscribe. Also, comment below and let me know what recipe you're most excited to try. Bye, guys.